Mr. President, yesterday, Donald Trump made one of the dumbest decisions he has ever made as president, and that's saying something. The tariffs Donald Trump approved yesterday are far, far worse than we thought. It's the largest tax hike on families since World War II. Yesterday was not Liberation Day, it was Tax Day. Middle class, pay more taxes, Donald Trump is telling you. That's what the day's all about. This morning, naturally, the markets are plunging. The Dow was down 800 points. The S&P is already on track for its worst day in years. Donald Trump has single-handedly created a financial forest fire. Trump called yesterday Liberation Day. Nobody was feeling even close to liberated. Quite the opposite. American families are learning the hard way that Donald Trump has them right in the middle of a pincer and is squeezing them on both sides. On the one side, Donald Trump is pushing tariffs that will cost working families an extra $5,000 a year. And by his own admission, he, quote, could not care less. On the other side, Donald Trump is working with Republicans to gut vital programs working families rely on, like Medicaid, Social Security, veterans programs. So there's a pincer. Trump's tariffs raise costs and pick people's pockets on one side. And Trump's budget and his budget cuts are taking away health care and benefits and veterans care on the other side. Now, there are smart ways to use tariffs, and there are dumb ways to use tariffs. Donald Trump is using tariffs in the dumbest way imaginable. In fact, Donald Trump slapped tariffs on penguins and not on Putin. Trump sanctioned the herd in McDonald Islands, only inhabited by penguins. And that's what happens when you don't have a clue as to what you're doing. You fire air traffic controllers, dismantle disease outbreak monitoring, sabotage Social Security and VA operations, censor climate data, defund public schools, an ND trade war on penguins. What is going on? Prices on groceries, prices on electronics, appliances, metals, beer, furniture, fertilizer, and so much more will go up. People's retirements are in peril as markets are in turmoil across the globe. And Donald Trump says, I couldn't care less. That's his quote, America. You're getting squeezed on both sides by his tariffs and his budget. And he says, I couldn't care less. The American people are learning quickly that Donald Trump is breaking all the promises he made in the campaigns, and he's not on their side. He couldn't care less. It's truly unbelievable to watch the sheer destruction Republicans are inflicting on Americans. We aren't even 100 days into President Trump's second term, and the Republicans this week will plow ahead to take away people's Medicaid. They're letting Elon Musk sabotage Social Security. He says it's a Ponzi scheme. He says he's okay if it's eliminated. What do these rich people know about how middle-class people struggle? It's a little coterie of billionaires that's running policy, and as I said, the middle class is getting squeezed by the pincers on both sides. What are they doing? Firing tens of thousands of epidemic responders, healthcare workers, food inspectors, abandoning veterans. And now, on top of all of that, it's been bad enough before, quote, Liberation Day, which is tax day. The Americans are going to pay $5,000 a year through his tariffs. For what? Why are they doing all this? Why would they do all this? Why would they hurt people, so many people, in so many ways? Why would they have that pincer squeeze them? I'll tell you why. One thing, one reason. Tax breaks for the billionaires. As I said, this is a coterie of billionaires running the government. Trump and Musk and Lutnick and so many others. You've heard the net worth of his cabinet. It's incredible. Cutting taxes for billionaires makes them squeeze the American people. It's utterly disgusting. President Trump should reverse course on his disastrous tariffs immediately, or else he risks plunging America into a recession. Some of the leading banks, the leading financial analysts, with no axe to grind, have greatly increased the odds that we will have a recession because of what Trump is doing. What president walks mindlessly into a recession, which means it's harder to get a job, harder to keep a job, harder to pay the bills? What president does that? So I am calling on the House and Speaker Johnson, given how bad Trump's tariffs are, they now know it, to come back into session and vote the Senate's bipartisan bill undoing the tariffs on Canada, the bill we passed yesterday with bipartisan support because a few Republicans had the courage of their convictions and voted against the president and for Senator Kane's very, very timely and needed bill. If the Speaker really cares about the American people and the costs they would bear by these tariffs, he should call back the House and take up the Senate bill immediately. The American people care about one thing above all, and they care about a lot of things. But at the top of the list is inflation. That's the number one thing on people's minds. We've heard that over and over again on November's election day and ever since. And Donald Trump said in his campaign he'd reduce prices on day one when he got elected. He's doing just the opposite. He's not just reducing prices, he's dramatically raising them, $5,000 a year on the average American family. And by his own admissions, quote, Donald Trump said, "I could not care less."